Palvinder, it's a pleasure to welcome you. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be here at this conference.
So you have been a serial entrepreneur, been in this technologies for a long time, but you have been very focused on supply chain, which is very critical infrastructure for everything we do. We can be great innovators, we can build great products, but if supply chain is not right, we are doing something wrong there. So at the outset, I thought, let me ask you to give us an overview of the supply chain landscape, especially in the last 5 years. It has evolved tremendously with the evolution of technology. So how do you see it evolving?
So first of all, I think we all see supply chain, we all participate in it every day, right? Anything we consume, whether it's food, whether it's clothes, there's supply chain behind every single thing. So just from the world GDP perspective, it's such a huge part of kind of every business that exists. Now, technology has been core to supply chain because it's one of the more complex areas. Right? And I go back to my roots as a computer science person. I think there's not a better match for a computer science, the real computer science and kind of supply chain. But we've seen a lot of investment go in. All of us saw during COVID what happened when the supply chain was not running efficiently. Right? All of us got impacted by it. So we have seen a ton of investment come in, both from venture capital, from private equity side, and the companies themselves focusing on supply chain.
Coming to understand the entrepreneurial side, since you have done entrepreneurial journeys before, two sides of it. One is almost all startups who start, they have these big dreams, a lot of passion and determination, but enterprises are not built just on that. It takes a lot of rigor, a lot of discipline, etc. So a general word of advice on how you think the current crop of new entrepreneurs should adopt technology the right way, but focus on bringing financial viability, which is very critical for any startup that people don't tend to understand. So some advice on that.
So I think you have to be very clear on what value you will create for your customers. And sometimes we miss that. Some of the technology looks kind of that it's exciting, it's young, it's new, but at the core of it, your customers are still looking for the value and still looking for how it is going to help them. So the first thing I will tell them that kind of be very close to your customers, right? Kind of understand what their pain points are, understand what they're looking to go do, because it's not a new field. Right? Supply chain has been around ever since we started bartering for food, kind of thousands of years back. So you're not going to be that supply chain by fundamentals are changed. What has changed is that you can apply technology to make it so much more efficient. Right? I think there is trillions of dollars of savings to be had by applying technology in supply chain, and it is being applied. So there are a lot of opportunities. My second advice would be that don't try to do too much. You first have to be successful at kind of one thing that you're starting off with and then build on it. I've seen many kind of startups, they run after every shiny object, and every shiny object is not a diamond, right? So just go focus on that kind of what am I going to go work on it. And as you said, it's not only about the idea, not only about the product, you have to be well-rounded. You have to think of sales, you have to think of marketing, you have to think of fundraising, your employees, right? All of that goes into building a company.
One other important aspect that they try to focus on, which is sometimes or most of the time is premature, is the exit strategy.
Yeah.
Before even build the product, they do think of exit strategy. So I like to tell them that there are always opportunities coming your way at each stage. You should know when you're ready, but build the product viability. The reason I'm asking this, your latest venture, which is Blume Global, has done so amazingly well, has been acquired. So advice on that aspect of, when they should be, thinking about these things, of exiting their company.
Yeah. And I will say there are two type of companies, right? So there are sometimes people are working for PE-owned companies, and they have defined time horizon. They're like 4 years, 5 years, they're going to go do something. Startups are not built that way. And you don't think of the exit, you think of the value you're creating, what you're building, right? And how do you continue to go build it? And as you said, opportunities will come, and then you can decide whether it's the right time or not. Now, there does come a time when, as a startup kind of CEO, you will think that kind of maybe I'm hitting the limit. of what we can do without enough capital, right? So if you're in the middle of trying to raise capital and the valuation is not right, maybe you want to look at that, do I just exit kind of at that time? But you can't plan out a startup idea with the exit in mind. You have to start off with value in mind, and as long as it's creating value, right, exit will happen.
Very well said. So when you talk about value, you created great value with your last company, Blume Global. Share with us your experience of building this great company.
Yeah, and I think it is not easy, and it's not one thing that you have to go do, right? So kind of I work probably 120 hours a week, right? And you're always kind of thinking of what you're going to go do. And a lot of thought goes behind it, and then it's not just the actions, it's kind of how do you go think of building it. This company in particular, we are focused on global supply chain orchestration. We are a sponsor of kind of this event today. I'm an IIT Roorkee kind of alum, so very close to IITs. Actually, even in India, I think this year we probably had 40 graduates from IIT Roorkee and IIT BHU and Madras and others. So we keep on going back to the IIT. So it's been close to me because my foundation was built kind of in foundational years for all of those years kind of at Roorkee in there. So very close to that ecosystem, and we have so many people who are doing so well kind of in our ecosystem today.
Right. I think you had great successes, and I know you're going to continue the trajectory going forward. A quick question on what are you planning in terms of your next steps, how you see technology and the absorption technology?
I think even when we built Blume, we built a platform for the next 50 years. And so it was a long-term vision, because there is so much more that we can do with technology now. There are also other pressures, right? We have pressures from environmental side, and as you think of it, supply chain and environment are tied together, kind of from how much CO2 gets used in kind of moving goods, right? And how many other aspects are related to the environment side of it too. The generative AI will open up many more doors for technology within supply chain. Personally, I think will continue to incubate more companies kind of as an investor or be involved in it. We'll continue to kind of focus on making Blume and Tech Global a great success, because there's just so much more ahead of us that there's no stoppage of kind of work or nothing that I can think of. Like if I think of kind of even my next week, I probably have kind of so many things going on in parallel, but all in supply chain and all around technology in supply chain.
You're one of the finest minds in supply chain, there's no doubt about it. I know you'll continue to create value going forward. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming and sharing your thoughts. And thank you for being a valued sponsor to this great conference. I appreciate that.
No, thank you so much. And it was my pleasure to be here. Thank you.